All right, for this video, I wanted to talk a little bit about the child tax credit for this year and who qualifies, how do you claim it, and what are some of the changes we saw from the prior year, because I think a lot of taxpayers are going to be caught off guard with not only the changes in the amounts, but the income limitations are the biggest variables here. So last year, as part of the American Rescue Plan, the credit was increased to either $3,000 or $3,600 per child, depending on the age, and that was up from $2,000 from the prior year. So the credit used to be $1,000. The Trump administration increased it to $2,000, and then the American Rescue Plan increased it just for 2021 to either $3,000 or $3,600. So it was quite a large credit last year, and the income limitations were much lower, right? So if you made, arguably, they would refer to it as too much money, the credit started phasing out pretty early, right? So for this year, it's reverted back to the pre-American Rescue Plan amounts, right? So the child tax credit now is reduced to $2,000 per child under the age of 17, and there's no carve out for a certain age gap. And so in other words, it's just $2,000 per child. It's not $3,000 or $3,600 depending on the age of the child. So last year, again, it was $3,000 or $3,600, and the income limits were much lower. And last year, we also had those advanced child tax credit payments, which were quite annoying, honestly, because taxpayers were getting checks cut throughout the year, and then we had to reconcile all that at the end of the year. And of course, what the taxpayer actually got versus what the IRS had in their system never matched. So there were a lot of errors on the returns where both parties disagreed on who got what over the course of the 2021 year. So what do we have for this year? Again, it's $2,000. That's the child tax credit, the advanced child tax credit, the refundable portion. Those largely remain unchanged. Now, the biggest change, apart from the amounts, are the income limitations, right? So the full credit is going to be available to you if you're a single filer with under $200,000 of modified adjusted gross income, or if you're a married filing joint taxpayer, it's $400K. So as long as your modified adjusted gross income is under those amounts, you're going to get full credit for the child tax credit. When you go over that amount, then the credit starts to phase out, right? The other qualifications remain largely unchanged, right? Child has to be under 17 at the end of the year. The relationship test, you've got to meet this, right? So it has to be your child, includes adopted children. You can claim brother, sister, nieces, nephews, and grandchildren if they are your dependent, right? The support tests, another big one, obviously, you got to provide more than 50% of the support for the child. They have to live with you. Special rules for divorced parents, the non-custodial parent and the custodial parent. Custodial parent could waive the ability to claim the credit and give it to the non-custodial parent. That's an option. And then the residency test, right? So the child has to be either a U.S. citizen or national, or they have to be in the United States as a resident alien. So a lot of things remain, the same. Frankly, the two biggest changes are obviously the amount and then the income limitations. That's really it, right? So the $2,000 is the credit now, not the $3,000. So that's a bit unfortunate that it's reverted back to the lower amount. But the income limitations are significantly higher than they were in the prior year. So that's also good, right? So a lot more people are going to be able to qualify for the full credit because the income amounts are so much higher, but the credit amount overall will be less. Okay? So that covers it for this update. Obviously, if you have any questions, please leave me a comment below. And I look forward to seeing you again on the next video. Thanks.